Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the McConaughey at YouTube with another model video. Today we're going to be unboxing, building and reviewing the 144 no grade old kit Agg from the original Mobile Suit Gundam anime and model line. However, this is a little special as it never appeared in the anime, is considered an MSV Mobile Suit variation but not in that line, the original line. Released in 1982 at 300 yen, packaged in a rigid cardboard box with classic artwork. This is a later re-release suggested by the logo and glossy sheen on the box, maybe 10 to 20 years later. Comes in two grey plastic styrene runners, hand-drawn like isometric instructions. Nothing else in the way of stickers or extra paperwork. The instructions and painting guide recommends to paint all the parts on the runners as per the painting guide, normally by hand, cutting out the parts and gluing them together. We'll be taking a much more modern approach, utilizing the same basic set of tools of nipper, knife, putty and glue, pre-building it, addressing all the seams and color separation issues, painting it much later on. This is a much harder, longer and tedious process, but does yield a neater finish regarding seam lines. Many of the processes taking overnight to dry before sanding. For a Gundam, this kit is incredibly unusual, more of a mobile worker or a construction industrial variant than a space or land weapon. The lore roughly covers from the original Mobile Suit Gundam anime that during the invasion of Jabberwow, they intended to use this machine to burrow underground to make an entry into the Federation base. Shah Aznable finds an alternative route via a cave system and it was never deployed. The kit is a traditional glue-together model where its articulation is plastic on plastic friction. Starting off the limbs and even legs, you can see the peg points and sockets where parts overlap each other, not being able to be pulled apart at a later date, excluding the bayonet fitting for the arms onto the torso and the legs onto a peg. Intentionally, these were meant to be permanently glued in with a part on the inside, but I did not follow this up. The weird proportion and connections does make this significantly easier to model than the other humanoid robots such as Zaku's and Gundams. Though it has some other challenges like the pipework around the gun and on top of the head. These parts needed to be pinned like repairing a toy or a garage kit to be pulled apart for painting. On that note, I'm not showing it complete yet as I'm keeping parts separated for painting, like the bayonet arm shroud. The kit utilised all the parts, leaving empty runners behind. It was incredibly fun and satisfying to build. With the separations, the process was a lot quicker in about 3 or 4 days of overlapping parts. I moved on to the priming stage via airbrush to look for any faults that need correcting. For superior paint adhesion to the plastic and a neutral colour not to bleed through my paint tones. There was significant seam splitting that needed to be re-puttied and painted. I was able to finally assemble and look at it as a test fit. Confident in my touch-up and repair work, I was ready to paint by applying the parts on alligator clips with sticks onto perforated cardboard. My spraying is similar to the official line of Gundam colours by Mr. Hobby, Hobby Lacquer Paint, which is chemically the same as automotive paint. I actually match the colours and get them from a local garage and top up the jars on the cheap. For base coating, they are thinned to a very watery viscosity, almost 3 to 5 parts thinner to paint, and built up in thin dust-like layers to build intensity and colour without flooding detail or causing other paint issues like orange peel. I use an affordable Chinese Haoxing pattern compressor with a Neo Eco or Hyosing 0.5 and 0.3 airbrush, also very affordable online. Matching the box art tones made everything orange. There is no surface flaws, bleed through or color issues. I moved to pre-shading, a black line along all the edges and separated points, and colored in the grey backpack and some other parts. Each component has multiple layers and types of colors. After a few days drying, I use automotive painter's tape to mask off the areas I've already painted. Everything demonstrated here so far is very easy to do, and I have adequate tutorials on setting up and getting into airbrush and selecting paints. Beautiful aspect of lacquer paint is it's fast drying and chemically heavy, etching into the material as a heavy anchor, not peeling from masking or other faults, thinners reactivating it. Its big disadvantage is it's quite toxic in its fumes and skin contact, making it quite dangerous to use in home and needing adequate ventilation to spray. After masking, I used another 2 to 3 light tones of browns and a light pink to add variation to the orange tone and cascading light gradiency, almost making it look more like a real machine or something in time and space than just a plastic toy. Some smaller bits were touched up by hand, then sludge wash, Tamiya accent color and enamel compound, heavily thinned paint was applied everywhere to sink in panels and detail to make it pop and look like shadow and shading. This is very slow drying. After a few days, I was able to put multiple gloss. With the final coat and the model done, I have to do this quick, cool show and tell. In 2010, Bandai put out these Gashapon Mini 1980 kits, half scale, so 1 to 288. There was a small and large variant. What kit you got was completely blind. The tooling, parts count, and snap assembly internally is completely different with identical scaled down external proportion and panels. The articulation and gimmicks are exactly the same. I made this about 10 years ago and hand painted it in water-based acrylics. I also have a lot more that I made at clubs and out about, away from my studio as a quick one-day build. Once the paint and wash levels have fully dried and chemically cured, I added a few layers of 2-part flash clear for a very deep wet look gloss, somewhere between a vintage toy and new straight off the showroom floor. Being a digging engineering mobile suit, I debated weathering it, but in the lore it never was used. It also very heavily resembles a Xeon aquatic mobile suit such as the GOG or Zagok, so it would travel in water as well. I cannot be more happy with the outcome. I've achieved the finished color tones proportions with no fault or issues. It still contains all of its articulation and matches the box art quite closely. It is a design that I like in passing curiosity and its sheer weirdness and quirks. Very much a throwaway product from the 80s, especially the half-scale little counterparts. They do get re-released from time to time and found at Gundam base rarely. I highly recommend collecting and making this. There's just not enough builds or videos out there of this little guy. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, until next time, stay tuned for further content. I filmed and edited this slightly different to add variation to these build reviews, as they're starting to feel a bit repetitive from the editing side of things. A lot of effort's been put in, so a comment or a like if you feel inclined would be much appreciated. I would also love to hear about your experiences in vintage kits, if you're building them now or back then, and if you've got anything to show and tell. This concludes the video. Catch you guys next time. Stay tuned for further content and weekly uploads. See you later.